If one were to imagine the grand stage of innovation, where the future unfolds its mysteries, Cathie Wood would undoubtedly be the director. Welcome to Financial Flipside. In this video, we delve into her compelling vision, exploring the 5 disruptive innovation platforms she champions with an infectious passion. These platforms: DNA sequencing, robotics with collaborative robots, energy storage, electric vehicles, and artificial intelligence, topped with a sprinkle of blockchain technology, are the bedrock of her investment philosophy. Now, you might wonder, why should you care? Well, consider this your backstage pass to the show of the century. In a world where understanding these complexities might seem daunting, Cathie Wood is your trusted guide. She simplifies the intricacies, turning this enigmatic journey into an exhilarating adventure. Let's start with genomics, a discipline frequently overshadowed by its more glamorous tech counterparts. Cathie believes it's the most underestimated of her disruptive innovation platforms, and she has a compelling reason. The past has seen us grapple with diseases, unable to fathom the intricacies of our own genetic code. But the era of DNA sequencing, epitomized by the likes of Illumina, has transformed the game. Imagine it as peering into the blueprint of life itself. We can now identify mutations and programming errors in our genome. And here's the clincher. We have CRISPR gene editing. This is where the real magic happens, where we hold the power to correct those programming errors. It's a bit like rewriting the code of life, fixing issues like pediatric blindness, sickle cell anemia, beta thalassemia, and leukemia. Cathie Wood, with her characteristic zeal, draws a fascinating parallel with the tech and telecom bubbles. Back then, if someone had told you about 3 foundational stocks in CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing, stocks that own the patents and rake in royalties from life-changing therapies, you'd expect them to be behemoths today. Yet, in the real world, stocks like Editas, Intellia, and CRISPR Therapeutics struggle to breach the $5 billion mark collectively. It's a testament to how misunderstood and undervalued this field is. But hold on, you might say, do I need to be a biophysicist to dive into this world? Cathie Wood understands your apprehension. The biotech terrain can be as perplexing as an alien planet, but she's on a mission to demystify it. Cathie's team is set to launch a series called Simon Says, or something of the sort, aimed at breaking down these complexities and making them accessible to everyday investors. She hits the nail on the head when she talks about fears stemming from a lack of understanding. The complexity of genomics can be paralyzing. However, Cathie believes that education is the antidote to this fear, and her team is more than willing to be your genomics tour guides. Now, let's switch gears for a moment and talk about time horizons. Cathie Wood's investment philosophy doesn't fit the traditional mold. She's in it for the long haul, and that's where the magic happens. She doesn't play by the short-term rules of the stock market, where analysts and investors are often fixated on next quarter's earnings. No, she's playing the long game, looking 5 years into the future. The unconventional approach is what sets Cathie Wood and ARK Invest apart. They aren't chasing the short-term gains you'd find in index funds or value traps. Those traditional investments are like relics from a bygone era, clinging to what worked in the past. But Cathie is all about the future, about what's going to work. Cathie Wood's critique of benchmark investing is a scathing yet insightful analysis. She believes that one of the most dangerous places for investors is within the confines of index funds. Why? Because they're becoming breeding grounds for value traps, stocks that appear cheap but are struggling for a reason. Look at the industries she mentions: banks, energy, auto companies, and even pharmaceuticals. They're all in the midst of massive upheavals. The world is shifting toward electric vehicles, renewable energy, and new paradigms. Yet these traditional giants are slow to adapt. They're trapped in the past, and their stocks could be ticking time bombs. But let's zoom in on one of the most electrifying aspects of Cathie Wood's vision: electric vehicles, or EVs. It's not just a vote of confidence in Tesla, it's a stark indictment of traditional automakers. These giants have been sleepwalking into an electric future for years, and they're barely getting started. Cathie paints a grim picture for companies like BMW, which she believes are failing miserably in their transition to EVs. They've underestimated the magnitude of change required, and their initial forays into the EV market have fallen short in terms of range and performance. So, what gives Tesla the edge? First, it's their battery technology. Tesla's approach to lithium-ion pouch batteries has set them apart, even if it seemed unconventional at first. While others mocked the idea of using cell phone batteries in cars, Tesla doubled down on its vision. They've been relentless in driving down the cost curve, making EVs more affordable for the masses. Second, Tesla boasts its own artificial intelligence chip. According to Cathie Wood's analyst, James Wang, this chip is a staggering 4 years ahead of anything the traditional automakers have in their arsenal. This is pivotal because the road to autonomous driving is paved with AI. Whoever gathers the most and highest quality data wins the race. And Tesla is leading the pack with 14 billion miles of real-world driving data. Lastly, Tesla's over-the-air software updates are a game changer. They allow the company to modify and enhance the performance of their vehicles continually. It's like having a car that gets better with time, a concept that sets Tesla apart from the rest. But is it too early to count the traditional automakers out? After all, they're just beginning their EV journey, right? Cathie Wood would beg to differ. She asserts that the real issue is that they've just begun, and what they've delivered so far falls short of what's needed in the electric age. These traditional giants are struggling to produce EVs that can compete with Teslas in terms of range, performance, and price. They're playing catch-up in a race where Tesla has already set the pace. As we navigate Cathie Wood's vision, it becomes apparent that her investment philosophy isn't just about making a quick buck. It's about understanding the evolving landscape of innovation and positioning oneself for a future that's both electrifying and uncertain. Cathie Wood and ARK Invest are on a mission to educate and illuminate, to bridge the gap between the complexity of innovation and the understanding of everyday investors. They are pioneers in a world that's shifting away from traditional benchmarks and embracing the promise of tomorrow. In the grand narrative of innovation, Cathie Wood is the storyteller, and her tale is one of relentless pursuit, unwavering belief, and boundless curiosity about the future. As you venture further into this brave new world, remember her words: "If we are right, this talk has only begun." Thank you for taking the time to watch. Show your support by liking and sharing this video. To stay informed on key financial topics, subscribe to Financial Flipside and switch on notifications so you'll know when new videos go up.